The Gunlance is called the Fun Lance for a reason. It's stronger than ever in Monster Hunter Wilds, even stronger if you kinda know what you're doing, and I've been putting in the time for this weapon, hence why in this video we're going over the optimal combos and playstyle for this beautiful weapon, based on the full release version that we're currently all playing on, while also going over some cool tricks that you want to know about. If you're unfamiliar with what this Gunlance thing is, well, it's this thing right here. A big ass modified lance that has built-in shells and cannons, which essentially makes it a massive nuclear gun and a lance at the same time. That means you can use the Gunlance pretty much to just nuke everything to smithereens, whether it's burst, sweeping across the monster, basically bathing them in explosions, or just blowing them up while you're aiming at them with insane burst, while also simultaneously cutting the inside out of your Huns as your weapon is sharp as hell, and all of that back to back. And oh, you get a shield as well, which allows for great sustain as well as setting up for even more damage and momentum. More on that as the video progresses. So let's get into the combos you want to utilize as a Gunlance player. The Gunlance main and Giga Chet combo in Wilds is going to be what is known as the double Wormstake full blast combo. First things first, look at the left top corner. You see all these little symbols. It's important to know what these things are. You have your shells, which are these little icons on the right. Then you have your cannon, which is the icon in the middle. And then you have also two Wyvern gauges, which are these two icons on the left. These two gauges allow you to shoot off your Wyvern fire ability, which is a very hard-hitting blast. Now, what is a Wormstake full blast, I hear you asking? Well, it's basically a move that unloads all your lance's shells and its cannon, so these two symbols, at the same time into the monster for huge DPS. The game allows you then to chain that with what is called the multi-Wormstake full blast, and that essentially means you get exactly the same thing back to back, and that is a lot of explosions and burst, hence why it's called the double Wormstake full blast combo. And then you want to accordingly chain that with two Wyvern fires, which, as we went over, are these two icons on the left. The Wyvern fire is another huge explosion that you can aim and target, and you can do that twice in a row as well. So you might see why the two Wormstake full blast into two Wyvern fire combo is a lot of power. You basically unload all your special stuff, all these icons, in very quick succession. It gets better though, because usually if you shoot off your Wyvern fire, it takes a little bit of time. But if you chain it with the mentioned Wormstake full blast as part of a combo, you get a faster version of these Wyvern fires. And then the second one of your Wyvern fires will even be faster if you chain it like that. So the double Wormstake full blast into 2 times Wyvern fires is your bread and butter combo. However, how do you actually open up for this combo to take place? Because obviously you won't be able to just immediately get into the combo right away. You have to do some moves before that to unlock the sequence. But actually, that is also not even super true, because you can get to your main combo within like 2 button presses. The best way is going to be the shell forward with circle or B on your controller into a moving sweep with forward and triangle or Y on your controller, and then pressing these 2 buttons in succession will open up the main combo here. Why is this version then the best version of the combo? Well, it's very practical. You travel forward with the first 2 presses, giving you essentially the ability to do 2 things at the same time. Reach your hunt, because it will move around all the time, and perform the beginning parts of the combo that will allow you to do the full Wormstake full blast combo. So to summarize the full Wormstake full blast combo here, it's going to be shelling into a moving sweep into a Wormstake full blast with pressing both triangle and circle at the same time, or Y and B, into multi Wormstake full blast where you press either triangle or circle, or Y or B, into finally your fast Wyvern fire where you press R2 with triangle and circle at the same time, or RT and Y and B at the same time. Yes, you get it. And aim. I have visualized the combo here on screen for you, and that's the fast way to do it, and also the most practical way, as the first part of the combo will move you forward and gives you a lot of reach. Sometimes you might just be right on top of the monster already and don't actually need to move. However, in that case, this combo will still be the fastest. But alternatively, if you're right on top of the monster but don't want to think whatsoever for a more smooth-brained approach, because you just started out with this weapon, or you just want to button mash in a bit less optimal way but still does the job, then you can just spam triangle and circle at the same time, as it will loop you into the Wormstake full blast combo as well, with 3 buttons regardless of there not being any action tied to triangle and circle or Y and B at the same time, because it will auto select smash and sweep for you, which allows you to do the Wormstake full blast accordingly. So basically this takes you to the main combo as well, just a bit slower and without really having to think, but it's still a very comfy alternative where worth mentioning as well, as the raw attacks at the start with your lance will all have good damage too. If you do actually want to think about it, then definitely use the fast way of the main combo. However, it's overall just a better combo. Now, our main combo here takes some time to fully pull off. To be honest, more often than not, however, from my experience, you will fully be able to get the combo off and it doesn't take too much time. However, if you don't have time because the monster is being a bit too spastic, let's say, with attacking a lot or just moving around too much, then you can opt for a few very useful short window type of combos that will come in very clutch as well. Now, these combos will not give you as much damage as our main combo, but they require a lot less commitment and are thus generally safer to pull off. Depending on the type of shelling that your Gunlance has, there are two different ways to go about your short window combos. For normal and long shelling types, you have the full burst combo, which is a very easy to pull short window combo that you can infinitely loop, and it goes as following. You start with either a rising slash if stationary or a lunging thrust if moving forward, into an overhead smash, and then finally into a burst fire. And then you sidestep to any direction you want and accordingly reload with circle or B, giving you the possibility to loop back into an overhead smash again, but this time needing both triangle and circle or Y and B to proceed into a burst fire, and from there on onwards you can rinse and repeat and it becomes an infinite loop. So it is a combo you can do as much as you want, but that also means you can call it off at any time you want as well. It basically just blasts all your shells in a short window, making it excellent for when you only have a few seconds to get the damage in. If you're utilizing wide shells on the other hand, however, I would recommend your short window combos to revolve around your shell ability on circle or B. You'll have two very good main short window combos here. The first one is the very easy poke shell that is also present in wild. All of this is basically you thrust immediately into a shell, and then you get this 2-hit combo where the shell, the little explosion, cancels the second part of your lateral thrust animation, which is nice because we just want the damage from our thrust. So it's pretty much an instant 2-hit combo that deals very respectable damage for how fast this comes out. It's great to weave in versus monsters when you don't have the time. And then you do a quick reload in between when you run out of shells. The other short window combo for wide shells is then going to be revolving around charged shells. You charge your shell, you get an explosion accordingly, and when you let go to get the explosions, you immediately do a quick reload to animation cancel the recoil as much as you can, and then thrust forward with a lunging thrust that you can also cancel with another charged shell. See, the lunging thrust is great to offset the recoil of the charged shelling that pushes you backwards, but what is even better is that you can actually cancel this move when your Gunlance is positioned correctly to go again for another charged shell. And that of course loops back into itself yet again. So you have infinite charged shells combo, very useful for short windows. You can also cut this combo short because you don't have to charge all your shells. How many shells you charge is easily indicated by looking at your Gunlance, which will give you a glowy feedback whenever a shell gets charged, but you can also hear it and feel it with your controller as well. So it is a good way to cut the charged shelling short if needed. When fighting monsters, the charged shell combo is also a very great way to quickly charge up your Wyvern fire's gauges, as just one charged shell loop can already pretty much fill up an entire Wyvern gauge. That's really good because that in turn means more Wyvern fires. The charged shell attack has quite a reach too, as you see in this clip, so you can even preemptively charge up your Gunlance, and then the monster can still be some steps away from you and it will still connect and give you that damage. It is a good short window combo. Now, the reason why these two short window combos are in my opinion best with wide shells, while the full burst combo earlier mentioned is best with normal or long shells, for short window specifically, is because with wide shells you essentially get the more beefy shells that have the potential for more explosive filling, meaning that short window combos revolving around individual shells exploding will be better for wide shells, while normal or long shells on the other hand will be smaller and thus have less explosive filling, but in return you get more of them, so the full burst combo will work there better because the burst fire aspect of that combo unloads all of your shells at once, and since you have so many with those two types of shelling, it is great damage for a short window combo. But ultimately your short window combos exist to at most supplement your main combo, which you want to give the highest prio, so it doesn't matter too much. But where it gets especially fun is that your short window combo combos have the capacity to loop into your main combos. All of these short window combos that I mentioned precede a moving wide sweep move, which then allows you to combo into our main double worm stake blast combo. As you can see in these examples, whether it's the poke shell combo, the charge shell combo, or the full burst combo, they all have the capability to smoothly transition into your main combo. This is something to keep in mind. For example, when fighting a monster and you suddenly get a lot more time than you anticipated to then swap over from your short window combo into your main combo, instead of looping your short window combos, as your main combo is always going to be more damage. Okay, so to summarize that, you always want to use your main combo if you have the time and prio it as much as possible, and then weave in the short window combos when you only have seconds, and which short window combo you want to use depends on your type of shelling, while your main combo is always going to be the same regardless of your shell type. Do you think we're finished? No, it gets better. We have our focus strike, which we didn't even mention yet, which is this ultra satisfying drill type of attack. Now, first of all, on the topic of focus mode, make sure to go to your options and put focus mode on toggle, and thank me later. Playing Gunlance with focus mode on as much as possible is really nice, as it gives you direction and you can shoot off the wounds of the monster with, say, your Wyvern fire as well from a distance nonetheless, and it just has a lot of nice utility essentially. So focus mode on as much as possible, it is too good. The focus mode related ability of the Gunlance then has a really cool name, but what is even better is what it actually does. You essentially want to use a skill when the monster has multiple wounds and you want to clean those up. And cleaning wounds up with this thing is, yeah, it's just too good. Orgasm inducing, you might say. You just drill everything to bits and pieces, culminating in an explosion if you're making contact with a wound. You never want to leave a hunt with wounds being open, because exploding wounds gives you great damage, it gives you parts as part of your farm and thus more materials, and on top of that it will also stagger the monster, giving you momentum. So all in all, it's a lot of value here just by drilling these things. You want to mostly use this skill as a cleanup skill to supplement your combos, as your main combo and Wyvern fire in particular can very efficiently destroy wounds as well. So with that insight, that's also how you want to use it. It also then combos very nicely into a Wyvern fire actually, as post focus strike you will get the sped up version of the Wyvern fire in line with the sped up Wyvern fire version that you get with your main combo. So keep that in mind as well. The focus strike Wyvern combo is really good too. Our focus strike here, however, isn't just really good at drilling, nuking wounds and giving us easy Wyvern fires though. No, because we can also use it as a mobility tool, and it's pretty great because you can cancel it by tapping the button twice. If you hold your focus strike or just tap it once, it will keep drilling for as long as the ability is programmed, and depending on if you make contact with a wound, but if you tap it again, you can essentially cancel it and sidestep, for example. This is very useful for if there is no wound on your monster, or if you just accidentally pressed focus strike, or you just want the forward lunge and nothing else. The forward lunge of your focus strike is really nice. It actually covers quite some distance and is a nice addition to the shell moving sweep part of our main combo. And that is of course in addition to your regular side steps, evades and shell dashes basically. By the way, if you don't know what a shell dash is, every time you shell you can traverse some distance as well, and you can do that very easily by just pointing into a direction with your analog stick. But we haven't talked about the ultimate move to bridge a lot of distance yet, and I'm going to show that off on this guy right here. He's quite far away from us, as you can see, but we can still reach it, and more importantly start our main combo at the moment of reaching. The following sequence is then our ultimate gap closer, which you definitely need to keep in mind, and it goes as following. You evade forward into a lunging thrust with I or triangle, cancelling that accordingly then when you reach the end of your character moving forward with a shell, and then you follow that up with a moving sweep. The latter two inputs being, as you probably know by now, the beginning parts of our main combo, the fastest or most practical version of it, so you can chain that accordingly with a Wormstake Full Blast. And the Wormstake Full Blast itself actually moves you forward as well, so rewind that and you see how we just traversed a lot of distance with a sequence of 5 different actions. So keep that in mind, and it's then also more than safe to say that the Gunlance is quite mobile, and you want to use this ultimate gap closing sequence of actions to travel the most distance and set up for engaging in your main combo. So now we've discussed our focus strike as well, but there's just one more thing about the Gunlance's main component, the weapon, that we need to discuss, and that's Wyvern fire yet again. So far we've only discussed it in the context of using it in combos, and the reason why we use it in our main combo or as a follow-up to focus strike is because you get a version of it that charges up faster, and faster means easier to hit, means better DPS, etc, etc. However, the game will present you with a ton of scenarios where you just want to Wyvern fire, as it's your biggest damage ability with a single button press. For example, when your hunt is sleeping, it's excellent for those scenarios. You know, drop 2 barrels, the good old classic combo, and then Wyvern fire the barrels and the monster for some huge damage and a nice little wake up. Or for example, if the monster is trying to flee or is in the sky in fact, and there's no threat of you being hit out of your Wyvern fire, and you can't otherwise reach the monster, then it's also a great option, as the move has a lot of reach, and you not being under threat means you will get it off 100% anyways, even if it takes longer. If they're empty, you still get the prompt on the top right corner, which can initially feel a bit misleading. Perhaps your Wyvern gauges cannot be reloaded like your cannon and shells, but they fill up quite fast anyways by just attacking your hunt doing our combos, with the already mentioned charge shell combo being the fastest way to charge these Wyvern gauges, so definitely do not forget about that. Oh wait, we also still have this shield, by the way. We didn't even talk about that whatsoever, and our weapon gives us already so much power, and it will then accordingly just get even better with this thing. See, our shield is not only there to negate incoming damage and be a useful tool for survivability and sustain, but it's a fundamental part of your gameplay loop. With it you can perfect guard, which essentially counters your hunt's attack, giving you a lot of momentum. Perfect guard is basically you timing your guard right before a monster attacks, and the more you do this, the better you will get at it and get a feel for it. It's purely timing and monster knowledge as well. What's important, however, about these perfect guards is that these set up for either a fast Wyvern fire, which makes them yet another source for a fast Wyvern fire in addition to your combos or focus strike, but they can also be chained into your main combo through either the shell moving sweep original starter or a overhead smash into a moving sweep into the main combo. These are option 1 and 2 in the prompt top right. So these perfect guards are an excellent tool for giving you a lot of momentum, from negating incoming damage to then looping you back into all of your offensive power. But that's not the only thing perfect guards are good for. In addition to the normal guards, they also build up a hidden gauge basically towards a mechanic called Powerclashes, which you will get when that hidden bar has filled up, and are essentially these cool animations of where you struggle with a monster, and with quickly tapping Y or triangle you can win the struggle and shoot them right in their face with your shells for some excellent damage. But that's just the start of turning the battle in your favor. These Powerclashes can then also be chained into your main combo through moving sweep, or alternatively just do a Wyvern fire right away. In addition to all of that, also important to know is that when you quick reload, you get this white little flash, which means that you can in fact also get a perfect guard during your quick reloads. And thus that in turn means that your quick reloads can also proc your Powerclashes, as you can see right here. You want to weave in reloads frequently as a Gunlancer anyways, to make sure you have your shells up. But this way you can utilize this mechanic as a 2-in-1 type of deal, where you get to reload as well as counter your enemy's attack at the same time. It is insane momentum, and reloading when perfect guarding means you pretty much get all your shells and your cannon instantly back. So as you see, there's a lot of connectivity between all the different types of aspects of the Gunlance, making it a very smooth playstyle. With normal guarding, or if you just miss your perfect guards, you can still go for these thrusting attacks while guarding, resulting into a guarded thrust 1, 2, and 3, and a few of these will also allow you to moving sweep accordingly into your main combo as well. So normal guarding has its uses too, obviously, aside from just being a good way of blocking damage. And keep in mind that you can also block some of the most scary attacks in the game, like those huge fireballs. Finally, there's the aspect of how do you actually start the fight with your hunt, and you have a few options to go about with a Gunlance. The most common one will probably be from your sacred, as you get a very nice attack when pressing Y and B or triangle and circle at the same time that functions essentially as a pseudo Wormstake full blast, as it also unloads your shells, and the attack kind of looks like it. But this attack can then accordingly be chained into a moving sweep, which, as you probably know by now, acts as the gateway to your main combo in practically every scenario, so meaning you can quickly get to your main combo as well, like this, which is extra nice at the start because you always start with 2 full Wyvern gauges. So you can right away also just do the entire entire combo and blow both of your Wyvern fires out like it's nothing. Alternatively, a great way to start the fight is by utilizing the sneak attacks. These attacks are actually very good and definitely noteworthy, as they have the capacity to do a lot of damage as well, making them a great opener too. And you can also utilize them mid-combat. Just use your ghillie mantle and you will go poof, the monster doesn't know where you're at, and you can do a sneak attack for free. Ultimately, you have now seen how the Gunlance operates. You have your main combo and you have a fast charge Wyvern fire, which is your hardest hitting single attack, and everything practically revolves around getting you to either of these two. Whether it's your focus strike acting as a wound cleanup tool that facilitates a fast Wyvern fire, or whether it's the more reactionary path of you guarding or perfect guarding that then sets up for either a main combo or also a fast Wyvern fire, or perhaps your short window combos that utilize time very well that can then be chained into the main combo if the opportunity presents itself, or if it's just you spamming your main combo that in itself also allows for fast Wyvern fires over and over. All the different options lead to absolute insane DPS, burst, utility, and sustain with this beautiful weapon. My next video will be the best progression path and build for the Gunlance. It's being worked on, so stay tuned and subscribe to not miss out on that or any Monster Hunter Wilds content in general, really.